Bismillah and Assalamualaikum everyone. So welcome to this very new series that I thought that I'd start. It's a series where we invite ourselves to the art of noticing because I think we are always rushing from one thing to another, and I thought, okay, why not we do this together, inshallah. And today we wanna slow down, pause long enough to notice, especially the things that we tend to miss every single day. Inshallah, what we're going to do is we're going to notice 5 things throughout the day. To notice something physical, so it could be an item or an element. To notice people. To notice something that I read or learn that is beneficial. Noticing something about myself. And then the last bit is to notice the signs of God around me. So today we are actually walking from the MRT to a library that is slightly far from where I live. We're actually going to Queenstown Library today, and I thought I'd bring you along, inshallah, for today's Art of Noticing. Bismillah. I see it. Library. Are you busy?
This is
Welcome.
behind the scenes.
Oh,
Welcome.
Thank you. So excited. I was like, how do I actually find my way here? Macam, Masya Allah. Spot you.
You get to know lah ya my background cik.
Shit.
Yes, when you open this library
For a long time ago.
in the 1970s, this is the first library that opened in Singapore. You can see all the collections that we have. Then the library cards.
Oh yeah.
People like to ask like, which one is your
Last
generation?
time.
Which is Lion one, the laminated one.
And then go to this time.
The base tu, like rainbow magic. Ada pandan there.
Wait. Oh, banyaknya.
Belakang lagi banyak.
That's a lot of pandannya.
Just that help to macam maintain it.
So nice.
So,
Beautiful. Stop focusing.
that time ada
So we're back home, Alhamdulillah, and just, doing like a bit of check-in and also a bit of a sharing with you with regards to today's journey on noticing at Queenstown Library. So to share, it's actually my first time ever at the Queenstown Library, and I think because there's a lot of, the modernized, updated libraries all around Singapore, that I was just asking myself, when was the last time I saw, those very rustic brown shells that I used to grow up seeing when my mom brought me to the library. So those were like, my first thoughts when I was there and just, trying to notice the space in which that I'm in. 5 things in which that I was trying to notice. And for the first bit, right, the thing that blew my mind that I saw at the Queenstown Library was the old library cards that we used to have last time. Okay, saying last time feels old, but yeah, last time, before a lot of things are now digital, we had, those library cards. There was a time where it was like printed and then laminated, and then they shifted to like a physical card of sorts. That was quite nostalgic to actually notice. These are the changes that has happened. Those were the days how we patronized the library, and now we patronize the library in the most different manner. We just use our apps and everything is just purely digital, fast, quick and efficient. The second one would be to notice the people. And while there were a lot of people to notice when at the library, I think it's also interesting because it's on a weekday and there's quite a number of people. I wouldn't say it's like crowded per se, but you see people at every corner of the library. And one particular person that I noticed that caught my attention was this boy. I believe he's like somewhere in primary school or elementary school, and he was using the library's desktop, looking through the catalogue, and he typed space, SPACE, enter, and then all the books pertaining to space came out. And I thought that to be very interesting because there is that bridging, right, between the way our younger ones learn today versus the way we learned, and that there is the positive aspect or the goodness utilizing technology. Something about that experience when noticing that boy really made me feel like, wow, in the world of AI, we still have students, children looking for books to actually read and knowing an area of interest that they have to actually explore the catalogue of the library. They are pretty much born into the era of, devices and AI. So to actually see that boy at that age trying to find a book through the library's catalogue is just something different. Now, the third one is to notice a line. So I was reading my current read, but at the same time, I was also browsing through the YA of the library. I chanced upon this book. Okay, number one, because the cover, the color, it's all very much pleasing to my eyes. And then I looked at the back, trying to like read a bit of like the summary of the book. There was this one liner where it says, sometimes you want the truth, and other times you run from it. And I felt that really stayed with me. These are the things in which that we know, but we don't really say it out loud, that we don't really like acknowledge it. But I think it's very human, right, to want to constantly know the answer, the solution, the truth, but you will be met with moments where you wish you wouldn't want to know the truth. A reflection of the human experience altogether. Now, the next one is about what I noticed pertaining to myself. Prior to reaching the Queenstown Library, I already had like a imagery or a vision of what a library looks like, given some of the modern libraries that I have been patronizing. And what's really interesting was that the journey towards the library was not as straightforward. I was just trying hard to find where the library is because I do not see any buildings that resemble our typical local modern looking library. That really got me thinking with regards to, the expectations or the biases that I tend to have when it comes to expecting something. For the most part, we anticipate or we expect a certain matter following what we know and following what we are used to, that we don't really keep an open mind to recognize that things does not have to look the same way all the time. And I'm just wondering and reflecting, upon myself right now, would it be interesting and valuable if I can actually bring that to other areas of my life as well, when it comes to my expectations, how I perceive certain things, and how can I be a little bit more open to the reality that it might not be exactly what I would think it would be. And then the last thing to notice is the signs of God around me, or rather the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I was just very much immersed in the ambience and the environment of the library that I was just thinking to myself, wow, there is still quiet places like Queenstown Library in Singapore, where on a daily we might not see as many people compared to the other modern libraries in Singapore. But it's so interesting how we are living in a very much modern, fast-paced world, fast-paced island country altogether. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God has the ability to create spaces where quiet can still happen. Places where you are able to actually slow down, even when you are planted in a space where everything is just fast, everything is just quick, and you're just chasing one thing to another. So I was just thinking about the greatness of God, the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how He can make, those bubbles, those spaces of quiet to allow us to slow down and to allow us to notice. And I think that's like a big part of the inspiration for this very much new series, to learn to slow down a little bit more, to learn to notice, and to, of course, soak in the environments, or at least our libraries, as a space to do that, inshallah. So before we go, I just want to provide you with a reflective prompt. When was the last time were you in a space where it has invited you to slow down and to notice? And if it's been a while, then you might want to visit those places all over again. So inshallah, until the next library, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to notice what has always been there. Assalamu alaikum.